Do, 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 do. Hey, James Scott, what's going on, man? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's get the chat up. So, when I do these live streams, guys, for those of you who don't know, I like to do a live stream every 1,000 new subscribers. The point of it kind of saying, hey, thank you to the new 1,000 of you who have decided to be part of our coding community. And I appreciate you supporting the channel. And so we're going to do a live stream every 1,000 viewers or so. Today, I'm gonna try to do something a little bit special every live stream. So today, what we did was I wanted to announce, and if you were in the live stream before the interview earlier, you already got this little tidbit. But I wanted to announce that we've actually started our own Facebook coding group. It's not really for my channel so much as just a Facebook coding group. It's called Code, Tech, and Caffeine. It's the official Coding Tutorials 360 channel, but it's really there so that you guys can share resources. And it could be anything from it could be anything from like a coding meme. So like it's good to dive into the culture of coding, right? To free resources. I have committed to uploading once a day on this Facebook group, so I'm always going to try and keep it going. Again, that's Code, Tech, and Caffeine. Let me go ahead and add that link in the description below as well. It's already there. Cool. I'm on top of it. But yeah, so I added some free books that I came across for HTML and CSS on that page. All you got to do is ask to join. You'll get accepted. Don't worry about it. It's a closed group just because it makes it sound legit that way. And also, it gives you an opportunity to ask any questions that you have. I always want to... some people have told me that I'm like a mentor to them, which is really deep, man. I've never been anyone's mentor. And all I really want to do with my coding channel, other than make a little bit of money, boys, I'm not going to lie, I'm trying to get that YouTube money. But besides that, I want to help you guys stay on track, man, because I know when I was looking to get better at coding, right, and web development, what I really wanted was someone to guide me. And it's not that easy. And if I had to say, if someone said, who was your mentor? It was Free Code Camp. FreeCodeCamp.com was what made me kind of find the resources I needed to kind of dive to the next level. And it sounds like I'm a spokesperson for them, but I am not affiliated with Free Code Camp in any way. But I wish that I had somebody like that when I had questions about what should I do, what direction should I go, that there was somebody there. And I'm not going to say I'm going to have all the answers or that my answers are even right, but they may be slightly more right, and I may have the answer sometimes than, maybe someone who's inexperienced. Welcome, everybody, by the way. Hey, 15K, that's right. 15K. 100K, we're going to be giving away 2 4K monitors, trying to get there pretty soon. At this rate, 4K monitors will be $99 for a 30-inch in about 4 years when we're supposed to hit 100K. So maybe I got to step my game up. I have to give away 5K monitors and up it. What do I think about using Bootstrap for your portfolio? So I'm actually totally pro Bootstrap, especially Bootstrap 4, which is the newest version of Bootstrap that adds a lot of JavaScript and a lot of CSS. The reason I say that, and some people may disagree, is because they want you to learn the hard-coded sort of what do you call it? CSS and CS3 is because you only have so much time to learn these things, right? And the things that they really care about, that like people are trying to hire you, that's in web development anyhow, is Angular and React. Those are the technologies. Angular 1, Angular 2, React, and all this shitload of additional libraries that you use with React, like Redux and other things. I'm not too knowledgeable in React, but that's really what they care about. And but the reason that Bootstrap is important, because there are companies that use it. I take all the time. I take recruiter calls. I had one today, coincidentally, not because I'm looking for work, but because these are the people that if I am looking for work, I can hit them up, be like, hey, it's kind of like dating, like, hey, girl, I'm back on the market. And then no girls ever hit you up. But in this case, I'm hoping they will if the time ever comes where I'm looking for a job. I have these people whose job it is to get people jobs. So with that being said, one of the things that she asked me in this very interview 20 minutes ago was, do you know the bootstrap at all? Do you know she literally said the bootstrap. It's pretty funny. So I was like, yeah, I've worked with Bootstrap 3, Bootstrap 4, because these are things that when you're working with very complex applications and you want to maybe have a nice slide animation, you're going to be using Bootstrap. You're going to be using Angular Material, which is developed by Google so that you don't have to spend a ton of time developing an accordion or developing a side menu that, closes but shows an icon for that. These are things that are important. And at the end of the day, the company you're working with, they want, especially with dealing with recruiters who are less technical, these are the things that, are helpful to have. It's better for you to have a portfolio that uses Bootstrap and have other applications with it than to just have a portfolio that doesn't use Bootstrap. Because I'm of the mindset that you need to have your fingers in a little bit of everything, especially when you're a junior dev trying to get your foot in the door, because you need to get your foot in the door, and then once you're there, decide what you want to spend your time on. Learn what you're learning at work, and then at your home, learn something else. In my example, I'm working with Angular 1. I'm working with MySQL, a little bit of PHP, HTML, CSS, Angular Material at work. At home, I'm working with Angular 2. I'm trying to learn Node.js. I'm learning things that I'm not learning at work that are very current that will make me a much better sale of a candidate. But I'm very pro libraries and frameworks and things like that. I think the mindset that this is bad is over. I think that's done. Once people have decided that you're using Angular and you're using React, anyone who says it's bad to use a library or a framework, sorry, get the fuck out of here, because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, because your entire application is built in some shit that someone else developed. Google or Facebook developed this and are sharing it with the world. So you can't use that argument anymore, at least not in my point of view. Now, should you have good CSS skills? Yes. Should you spend the time learning the intricacies of CSS? No. The whole world, and Jonathan Torres brings up a great point. Why redo something that has been done? Great example. Very, very great statement, because there's a lot of open source stuff, and you have the MIT licenses, which a lot of times when you're a developer, and this goes in my workplace and other workplaces as well, is you will straight up rip things that are open source that says, hey, you can use this for whatever you want, and just put it into your app. And it's totally okay. It's totally acceptable. And it's not like you're a small team that's doing this. My old work had 3 teams of 8 to 10 people, and they did that for a signature application that someone else developed with an MIT license, which is basically an open source license so that you can use this for anything. You want to sell something with it? Good. You want to try and sell this? Go for it. But these are the things that, this is the world we live in web development. And if you're not comfortable with it, it may hinder you. But you should always strive to have good HTML, good CSS, and at the end of the day, when your boss says, hey, I need you to do this, you need to say, all right, I'm going to go spend 4 to 8 hours, if not more, trying to get to do this, because I do have okay skills in this range. An okay skill. That is the barrier of entry. Are you okay in this? And if you're okay, you're probably a decent developer. So it's just one of those things. And you're always going to be Googling things, and you're always going to be looking things up. So don't kill yourself trying to master a menu icon when someone already developed the wheel. Worry about building the car with the wheels. That's really what you need to worry about. You're spending all this time building a car. Don't worry about the wheels and the spinning rims. You know what I mean? How about WordPress? So WordPress is great for businesses. Now, but as a developer, you're pigeonholing yourself. The skills that you gain in WordPress are not really going to be that valuable on the market. You're only going to be a WordPress developer. And there's exceptions to the rule and whatnot, but that's the general thing. Also, the the example I always get about WordPress in the market, right, is that a lot of sites have built on WordPress, but it requires very little developer intervention. You're basically becoming a web designer if you go into WordPress. You're not going to be a web developer. You're going to be able to have to build WordPress templates from scratch based off of a Photoshop image that you may or may not have designed, and that will be your job most of the time, right? So WordPress is interesting because there are a lot of developers that do that. They go into web design, become WordPress developers. And what happens is the market for that, if you were to look up, and this is, it depends. There's nothing wrong with learning WordPress. You just have to know what you're getting into. So like right now, if I type in WordPress developer salary, the first thing I see for a web designer is 45,000 national salary compared to front-end developer, which is 58. Now, if I were to type in, let's just say that like you can look up these stats all the time, and you know, like I make $12,000 more than a front-end developer on here / engineer role. So these are generalizations, but the generalization is that WordPress developers typically will make 1/3 less than a typical front-end developer that may be working with Angular or React. That is a very true statement, and it's going to be very rare that on average the WordPress developer will make more than a Angular or a React developer in the front end, especially for full stack, because then you're going not from front end, you're going to full stack, and you're making just as much or significantly more typically than a front end developer. What about creating innovation? No one's saying not create innovation, but there's a lot of resources out there that allow you to still be innovative. If your whole thing is like, I want to make a custom menu that goes 360 and 360-degree colors because my name's Coding Tutorials 360, do it, man. No one's saying not to. But if your job is to learn the resources that people are out there looking at your portfolio, and all you have to show them is the menu where you did this in multiple colors, it's going to be harder for you to get a job. So that's the thing. But being innovative is very, very cool, man. Like when I built my website, Coding Tutorials 360, all I wanted it to do was have a YouTube API. I wanted to build it in Angular. I used Bootstrap with it. I used all these sort of things, and it ended up getting me a job. One of the reasons I got my job. Let's see. In coding, there's a big learning curve. How would you gauge where they are on that curve? So for me, it really depends on what technologies they're working with. And it's very easy to kind of have a conversation with somebody and see what they're doing. Like, if you and I can talk about Angular, cool. You probably can write some Angular. Oh my God, Milo. Buddy, what are you doing? This guy just took out my thigh. Oh my God. All right. Get out of here. What are you doing, buddy? Yeah, I don't know what came over him. I'm good, by the way, Oliver. Thank you for asking. You know what? Next question, man. I got my cat just totally threw me off course, man. I got like a gouge in my leg from him trying to. I had my leg like kneed up over here on the futon, and he just like tried to jump up and held on when he missed. Whew. Oh man. So anyhow, that's my opinion about WordPress, and I don't even want to call it opinion, because if you want to learn WordPress, great. The example I give is I make the same amount of money as the WordPress developer that I interned with at the WordPress company. So this guy had been making WordPress templates for 11 years. I make the same exact money that he makes in California, by the way. So he's getting more taxes. He's getting he's paying state tax and a higher cost of living. So that really compares it. As a front-end engineer, I make the same as a WordPress developer with 11 years experience. Like, that may not be the standard on average, but that's just my personal experience and the stats if you look at salary ranges. And there's nothing wrong with saying, look, I want to be a web designer, man. Great. Do UI, UX, you can make a lot of money. It's going to be a little bit harder. No problem, man. But to just present to you the facts, a lot of us are trying to get a better life, man. Part of the reason I like software so much, it's a great thing. I enjoy it. It stimulates me intellectually. And I like that, but also pays well. And if you want to go into software to make money so that you can have a good family and that you don't have to have a microwave in the back of your room because it's also your office and your kitchen, as was my case, you know, it behooves you to know that there's a difference between a WordPress developer and a front-end developer. And that's just something I want to share with you, because I know WordPress is thrown around quite a bit, and you see tons of WordPress jobs and all this sort of stuff. Just be aware of that. Let's see. Hey, Van, thank you for the love, man. How many hours a week do you work at a job? I usually work about 40 to about 45. But if you count what I do outside of work, because I'm always studying, right? And that's one of the things I think really can sell me to future employers, is that I am always studying. I have a coding channel where I'm doing things. I'm always trying to learn. I'm working on Angular 2 and Node.js in my off time, making tutorials for you guys coming soon in a couple things. A little hot tip, a little ES6, a little ES5 with that as well. A little Node.js, Angular 2, D3 tutorials. Also, by the way, we're going to be interviewing Quincy again soon. So we're going to be interviewing Quincy Larson, the founder of Free Code Camp, so we can talk to him about the beta. I asked him over Skype the other day, hey, Quincy, when are we going to get the new beta version? And he said, it will be done when it's done. Like, it was just like basically the same exact answer he gave me when I interviewed him. Do you spend all 40 hours programming? I know some jobs only code half the time. So we're a small team, so I do a lot of different things, right? I may do some wireframing. I may do some time communicating with the client. I may do some time coding. But I would say all that falls under programming. We don't really have meetings, which is great. I worked at my old job where you have meetings every single day. So yeah, I probably spend, like, I'll give you an example today. I spent about 4 to 5 hours working on how to dynamically add link tags. We're building an application that's going to have a plugin system, meaning that you should be able to, as long as you follow our architecture, drag a folder, drop it into this folder, and it should now be part of your application. And what we want to happen is, if there's CSS files in this plugin that we dragged and dropped here, but in our main application over here that's communicating that, if there's already a link in there, if there's already an href in there that for a style sheet, we don't want it to reload. So what I spent 4 to 5 hours today is doing research and developing my own solution so that those style sheets only load when we access that controller in AngularJS. So that, how many lines of code was that? About 12. About 12, but 12 hours. How long did it take me to write that code? 15 minutes after I thought it out and spent 5 hours on research and about 15 minutes on development, right? Java OPOP? Excuse me. Question, what are the possibilities for a web dev in the German-speaking countries? If you don't know, do you know someone who can answer the question? I don't know, man. I wouldn't. I can just tell you that when I interviewed the CEO and co-founder of Novo Resume from Norway, a lot of roles. In the UK, a lot of roles. I would imagine that with Germany having such a large economy, there's probably a very good web development community. But it's well, how would you say, it's one of the things where I would never know unless I worked in Germany or knew people in Germany. So I'm sorry that I can't answer that. But I'm sure you could look at the market. So it's basically controlling the load and the path of the file. Sort of, yes. So basically I wrote a custom Angular service that I would import into a controller. A service is kind of a function that works amongst many files in AngularJS. And then a controller is basically that file for a certain part of your application that does some stuff. So I wrote a function that I imported into that file that allows it to check the entire application if that style sheet exists. If it does, we're not going to go ahead and load that file. And the reason that we're doing this, and this is for performance, right? We only want to have to load style sheets that we're going to use. So if you have 10 plugins, if all 10 have different style sheets, you want to do what's called lazy loading. And usually this works with script tags, with JavaScript files, where in Angular, because it's a single page application, in Angular 1, it's considered a single page application, is really what's happening is you're only changing the view of a single page. So unless you're on that page, you don't want to have to load all these JavaScript files, all these styling sheets. So instead, you want to dynamically load it. So only load the file that you need when you need it, so your application runs faster. Is NoSQL useful to learn, such as MongoDB? So it depends on the company, right? So I use MySQL at my work. A lot of people who learn the mean stack would be MongoDB, Express, Angular, Node.js. So it kind of depends. If you just do a Google search like database uses, what database languages are popular. But I think what you really have to understand is how databases work, because they all kind of work a little bit different, right? But if you understand the logic behind it, it just depends. Like MySQL is number 2, but all these things are changing, right? MongoDB is picking up a lot of momentum, because people are learning it through free open source things, and it's JavaScript based and all this sort of craziness. But yeah, so it just depends. My thing is be comfortable with whatever database language you're learning, unless you're going specifically into databases, and then decide from there based off the market. And like database design and, which data science. So data science is a great field, by the way. I'm sorry I didn't answer that. It's actually one of the few fields where you can make more money working as like a database architect than a full stack developer. So the project is mainly for making websites, making the web application efficient. No, is the project? No, just that function. The project isn't just to make websites more efficient. It's to make the simple the web application that we're building. So we're building, there's a platform, right, that has multiple applications in it. And this is allowing, whenever we add a new application, to allow that to run more efficiently. Oh, man. Losing my voice. I did a live stream the other day with you guys when I did my interview with honorsociety.org, and he postponed it by like an hour and a half, and I got on about 45 minutes before, and then I kept on. I had to. So not only did I interview him, but I was talking for like three hours. Will his material as video on YouTube? I like to watch when I'm so sleepy. I'm sorry. How much of your time is on research and development? Is it normal to spend the majority of your time reading and learning about 30 minutes of code? It depends, right? So today, because we're working with something very brand new that isn't our code base, we're importing a new code base as a shell for basically our application plugins. Here you go, buddy. You coming in? Got a cat meow on his door. So it took a little bit longer because we didn't architect our shell necessarily. Now what's going on is sometimes it really depends how well you've worked with the language or the library that you're working with, and how great of a developer you are. Today it took me about 4 or 5 hours to get this done, but now that I've done it and I'm aware of how to do it, it only took me about 15 minutes. I had to replicate it. I probably could in front of you guys in 15, 20 minutes. So it depends on the research and development of it, and where you are in the project, right? So we're basically at the point where we finished the beta of one of our applications, and now we're moving on to a next phase that's kind of unrelated. We're taking our one app and plugging it into here, and now this here isn't fully functional. So, and we didn't fully write it all. So what's happening is, is that there's more research and development right now at this stage in the game. Are you recording and will you put this stream as a video on YouTube? Yes. So all the every 1,000 subscribers, I of course will go ahead and leave it up. That's one of the ways I'm going to try and do some more live streams for you guys. Is every 1,000 subscribers, say thank you, welcome our 1,000 new fans and 1,000 new supporters to say thank you for being here. Let's do an AMA. Let's do a little bit of an announcement. By the way, the announcement in here is I have a Facebook group called Code, Tech, and Caffeine. So we all can kind of commingle. We can share resources. We can kind of try and raise this group up so that other people can find support, find some mentorship, find some help, share memes, share resources. So if you want to get that, the description's in the description. The link is in the description below. And also you can just find on Facebook by searching for Code, Tech, and Caffeine. No, Jesse G. It does make the concept of document.ready with jQuery. What that does is it basically runs your jQuery in the block there. So it's not the exact same thing, but you do understand the concept generally where what's happening is you're only loading things when you're at certain places within your application. What is the energy drink of choice right now? So the work got us some monsters, man. So the energy drink of choice is the just straight up regular monsters. And hey man, it's been saving me a ton of money just drinking them for free at work. And this is how you know you're loved at a company, man. You ask them to get monsters and they do. God bless. As if you ever get a company that'll get you energy drinks, you respect that company from now on. Thank you, Ron P. I appreciate the love, man. I'm very happy that we got to 15K. It's been a grind, man. I'm hoping to get to that. The next milestone for me is 25, 50, then 100. That's the big deal, man, for me. But yeah, everything's been going great. I got nothing but great things to say, man, about the company. I love it. I'm learning a ton. I'm doing everything I wanted to be doing. And like for those of you who are like wondering, is it worth it? Yes. The answer is yes. Stick with it. Work hard, man. A year and a half ago, I was at a Costco breaking down because I couldn't afford to buy underwear and had to spend all my money on food. And here I am. I got an office. There's no microwave in the background. I'm a happy guy, man. I love it. Have I made mistakes? Every day. Every day you make mistakes. As a developer, there's not always going to be an answer for your problem. And not only will you make mistakes, but the senior devs will make mistakes, the interns will make mistakes, and it's your job as a team to be like, hey, this isn't what you were supposed to do. Let me show you how I would have done it, or give you some advice, or explain to you how you can do this better. Don't ever be, and that you need to, and it's much, the thing I could say is it's much better to be more upfront about your mistakes than try to hide them, because you will learn more and you will be a more appreciated member on the team. If I'm struggling, and I could probably do this too much for all I know, is I'll ask my boss, say, hey, I don't understand what the hell's going on here. And a fresh pair of eyes may save you 4 hours of your time. It could be a syntax mistake, and they might see it off the bat because they're fresh, but you've been diving in the same 20 lines of code for the last 4 hours. Thank you, Van. Have a good one, man. Good luck at work. Do you ever feel consumed with just coding every day? So this is an interesting question. We got some water real quick. So this is an interesting question about feeling consumed by coding all day. The short answer is no. There was 1 week where I was kind of getting bored, and it was because so the way that your development process goes, depending on the company, is usually wireframes and stuff. You'll meet with the client. What is it you want us to build? Why do you want us to build it? How is it supposed to work? And you'll go through this iteration process where you'll wireframe it out, do some UX design, do some UI design, send it to them, go back and forth. Then you'll start developing, right? And that developing part, I like that part. That's the part I like, right? That's where I'm like, hell yeah, we're learning some new shit. We're making some shit. Yeah, I like that. Like that is my shit, man. I like that a lot. Then you get to the point where you're finding things not as fun. But it's part of the process. But when you get to the point where you're like, we're ready to push this out to beta, you're writing tests, you're checking tests, you're going through the application line by line by line, you're working through the production version of it or the QA version, testing it, not only testing it within the database. I don't like that as much. I don't like the testing aspect. But one of the things that's really important when you get onto a small team is you get all that. You get all of that and more. So like things that I may never have touched before if I wasn't on a small team, wireframing. I may never have touched balsamic or pencil project things where you're sketching things out. So now you have like UI, UX stuff on your resume that other people may not have, which is really important. You may never have touched Protractor, Karma, Jasmine, which is designed for putting tests. So now you have that on your resume. So you have a little bit more of something else that you can kind of, prop yourself up to do a lot of things. You may never have touched PHP or MySQL before because you were just a front-end dev on a larger team, all these sort of things. The point being is that there may be 1 week here or there where you're like, damn, man, I am so sick of writing tests that may get old. But I promise you, that's just 1 week. The other weeks, how many weeks have I had? I think I'm on 5 months now. That was 1 week a month ago, and it was because I was so sick of going through the application trying to find bugs. Not fixing bugs. I love that, man. We're doing some shit. We're fixing some shit. Life is good. But when you're like, I have to go and find things that may or may not exist, it's the equivalent of trying to understand when your girlfriend is angry at you and you ask her, hey, baby, what's wrong? But she doesn't want to tell you what's wrong, so you have to figure it out. I don't like that. Tell me what's wrong. But now it's with your code. I don't know if that made sense to anyone else, but it makes sense to me. How beneficial was creating your YouTube channels towards getting a career? And do you recommend everyone? I was thinking of streaming some hacker rank challenges. So this is my recommendation. Is if you do hacker rank challenges, I highly encourage you to do one a day, upload it to your GitHub, make a video about it as well, and share the solution that way. My YouTube channel was very beneficial to me getting my career, but it was more so my YouTube channel got me my first job before this, where I was a technology trainer where I basically made documentation and videos for a software company. So I kind of got my foot in the door a little bit there, not writing any code, but I did do some wireframing. I did some research and development to design the registration application and help with that. So that was really helpful. And my YouTube channel got me that because there's a video editor job and a creative job. And I was able to get that job based off that. Now, while I was working there, which some of you may or may not know, I had to drop out of school to get this job because I was just so sick of being broke all the time. And I made that choice. So I took that job. While I was there, I studied nonstop. And if you look at the stupid amount of videos I put out in the 9 months there, I probably put out I think it averaged like a video a day. And it's just me studying anything I could get my hands on. That's where the code everything comes from. So whenever you hear, you see the little intro, things are spinning, and at the end you hear this British chick going, code everything. little sexier than that. But that is where that saying comes from. That's me, because my thing was code whatever you can get your hands on, because even if you're not using it now, you're just going to become a better developer. You're going to learn to think like a developer, and that's I preach that a lot in my older videos, trying to learn how to think like a developer, how to solve a problem like a developer, and not how to just code, not how to memorize a language, right? So my YouTube channel, when I started applying for jobs, I had it on my project section where I was showcasing my YouTube channel. And what ended up happening is that the developer that I work with right now, the junior developer, is basically him and an intern, and they were looking to expand the department into what it is now, which is about 6-7 people. And what he did is he liked my resume and my LinkedIn. It all looked great. He went on my website, and I was going to work primarily in Angular 1. Keep in mind, I never touched Angular 1 until about a month before. They said all I built was my portfolio website. That's all I built in Angular. They saw that. They watched a couple of my videos, said, hey, I think I can work with this guy. He seems to know what he's doing. He seems like a decent enough guy. I could get along with him. That got me the job. So how beneficial was my YouTube channel? Beneficial enough to get me a $22,000 raise in Florida and a full-time salaried position as a developer. That is my answer to that. And I attribute it all to my channel, free code camp, and just working hard, man. That is what I contribute it to. How do you feel about Angular 2 comparing to React? So I'm actually learning Angular 2 over React. I'm interested to see when I interview Quincy why he's chosen to go down the React route instead of Angular 2. Now, it could be the fact that Angular 2 requires so much to set up. Even the quick start version, I started learning Angular 2. I never bet against Google. That is my thing. There's also been a few little rumors somebody was telling me at a coding meetup that Facebook is getting pretty defensive about like their framework and library, and people are worried about that. But for me personally, I just don't bet against Google, man. I'm a believer that Google, if they did it wrong, they will fix it. And I'm happy to learn Angular 2. But with that being said, I think it's good to learn either one. I don't think you can go in a wrong direction. You can learn Angular 2. You can learn Angular 1. I think there's going to be a learning curve on both. But I think it's a good thing to learn either way. So that's kind of why I'm spending a little bit of time learning Angular 2 as well. It's just because I like Google. I believe in Google. They make it. We'll see. We'll see what's happening. I think you should just choose whichever one you like better, to be honest. It might be easier to learn React. It's easier to get started with React, that's for sure. Thank you, Franik. I appreciate that. He says, how did you start learning front end, and what was your idea to develop skills? By the way, great channel. So I learned, I was in college for a computer science degree doing nothing but Java, and I fucking hated it. To this day, I hated it. And it pains me that I'm thinking about going back to Florida State very soon. So anyhow, that's another topic. So the only JavaScript course I ever took was on Codecademy. I never touched JavaScript before that. So I jumped in. My idea was I wanted to get better at coding. I knew from my coursework that, yes, I was doing okay in it, but I was struggling. And there were better people in the class that weren't, and that pissed me off. And so I just started doing all the free resources I could get my hands on. I was like, I'm going to code everything I can that's free on Codecademy. And I'm going to start my coding channel. I'm already doing these things. I got my friend Matt, Engineered Truth, as you guys may know him, who's making buku bucks doing these things. And he's trying to live this YouTube career. And I'm getting a little jelly. And I'm like, yo, man, if Matt can do it, I can do it. I've known Matt 20 years. If he can do it, I can do it. I'm ready to jump in. And so I started doing as many tutorials on Codecademy as I could. I threw them up, better or for worse. That's how my channel started. From there, I dived into free code camp because I basically did everything on Codecademy that I wanted to do. and I was looking for new stuff, and I was just getting better and better. Even though I was jumping language to language from PHP to JavaScript to HTML, CSS, Ruby, the command line, SQL, just doing as much as I could and never really developing a project. So when I really took that next level, when I went from being like a very beginner to an intermediate and got that deeper understanding, was when I started working on Free Code Camp, because now I'm doing things that I see now that you can build things. Like, it never even occurred to me to start building things in JavaScript. It never occurred to me. I didn't even think about it. And so I got to the algorithm section where it really pushed my knowledge, where now I'm really doing that research and development of these algorithms, where I need to get that deeper understanding. I need to learn more about the library and the framework, and logically think of how to break a problem down. And Free Code Camp gave me that. And then I went on to do the projects, where now I'm learning things about, I had no idea what an API was until I hit Free Code Camp, which didn't tell me either, or what Ajax was. And so when I finally understood it, after spending 2 days on the weekend, I had a developer at my work at Education Dynamics, where I was making the videos and things. I asked him, what is this? I don't understand. He broke it down in 30 seconds, and I was good to go, man. And that was when I started developing those projects, and those projects were so incredibly crucial to me learning. And more than anything else, and I can't stress this enough, code every day, man. 30 minutes a day on the days that you can't, and more on the days you can. On the weekends, when I was working at EDI, as a technology trainer, I was spending 12 to 14 hours a day coding in my non-AC little room with the microwave, and after work spending 3 to 4 hours a day, every single day, just diving into Free Code Camp and doing Codecademy and the YouTube channel, doing everything I could to just get better. And once I kind of got to the end of Free Code Camp, of the front end section, I started saying, okay, I started looking at job apps. What is it that these job apps are looking for? And every job app that I thought I had that I looked for, all I knew was jQuery, JavaScript, HTML, CSS. What I came across when looking at job apps was the ones that I think I have a shot at all require Angular, all require or React. Those were the two. So I jumped into Angular, I jumped into React, and then I asked my work to promote me. It sounded like they were going to promote me to a different position. They didn't do it fast enough, and then I'm here, man. But that was how I got better at front end, just coding every day and doing all the free resources and doing it twice usually. And like especially at Free Code Camp on the Codecademy days and those early videos, there was no doing it twice. We did it live, baby. You got to see me struggle through it, for better or for worse. Some people like that, some people don't. I try to leave a little bit of in there, but that's the thing there. So that was really how I learned to be a better developer, is I started coding. Once you can code in like 5, 6, 7 different languages and think logically about how to solve things, even if you don't know the library, it really helps you out, man. And that was what worked for me, was doing the projects on Free Code Camp and developing things from scratch. No more just copying and pasting on Codecademy like it basically is, and just kind of having to be challenged from going from here to here, and always knowing that I needed to get that next level. But that was basically how I learned. What text editor does the industry use? It depends, man. I don't think there's a standard. It depends on what technologies you're using and stuff like that. We use an IDE called PHP Storm. They also have WebStorm and stuff like that. So it depends. I personally, if you're looking for a great free one, I like Atom, ATOM text editor. That's my personal favorite. One thing I would say, if you do decide to do that, is go ahead and do a quick Google search for the best add-ons for that, plugins. They're all free, by the way. I'm not trying to sell you anything, but to add that to, because basically there's open source things where, you know, several 100,000 people download some of these things to basically make the text editor better. My suggestion is download that, get those plugins, and, you know, go ahead and enjoy. Yeah. And, you know, that's one of the things that Quincy has said about why he developed Free Code Camp, not other than his passion, but one of the things he had is he doesn't think people learn when you hold their hand completely. And it's a great example because as a developer, you're going to be looking things up and developing. Like I told you earlier in this live stream that I spent 4 to 5 hours trying to solve a solution. I had an idea in my head, and then I went on to try and see, okay, how can I solve this? Let's do some searching. Let's check Stack Overflow and go on and on. Lori Lopez says, what common skills do you see on dev job postings? So my advice to you, if you're going for front end, is there's a couple basic things that you need. HTML and CSS are given. Those are the basics, right? But the things that are really going to get you a job just for front end is going to be Angular or going to be React. Angular 1 or Angular 2. If you really are try hard, Angular 2, go for it, baby. Or React. So those are the things. Now, for React, go ahead and look up what the more popular React libraries are and start learning one of those in tandem, because there's a couple that go with it. Now, if you really are like, look, I want a little bit more, Dylan. Like I'm a confident developer. What else can you do? Go learn Node, man. When these recruiters want you to learn Node left and right. So if you can learn Node and you can work that as your back-end technology with Node and MongoDB, you're great. You're golden, man. That's my advice about what skills you should see, what skills you should develop to get a job on the entry-level areas. Did Codecademy ever get back to me about the freelance web design Codecademy Ready program? No, they did not. I did get an email from them today about how you can. It was like an automated email from Codecademy about how there's no risk because you can dip set after 2 weeks or before 2 weeks and get your money back. Yeah, man, I don't know. That Codecademy Ready thing is not a scam, but like spending $500, you'd be in such a better position going elsewhere. I would love to actually do it, to review it. And I just like doing that stuff, but they never got back to me. I wish they would. I don't know who else they're going to find to do that. I told them I would do like 10 videos, a video before, a video for each week, and then a video after talking about it and what I learned and what you can expect from each module of the course. Sounds like a good deal to me. I don't know. Maybe there are companies that don't really understand digital marketing and internet marketing. They could be one of those. They do have a very bad social media game, and that kind of leads me towards that. I don't know. Like, I didn't want to get paid. I just wanted to do the course. That I don't need the course. I wanted to do it out of curiosity so I could talk about it with you guys and share my thoughts and give an honest opinion. Because all I can really do is tell you based off the syllabus what they're teaching and if it's misleading or not. I can tell you that in their most recent, so they did their first run or their second run, they've already changed the course so that the last week they introduce you to jQuery and JavaScript. So already my video I made is validated because they added the same exact things I was criticizing them for not having in there. Now, can you learn jQuery and JavaScript in a week? And like, is that part of your project? No, it's absolutely insane. So, but it's good that they're trying to lead you in a better direction. I can appreciate that. So here's a little side note. So for anyone who doesn't know, I'm a UFC fan, and today Michael Bisping is a fighter who's a champion, and there's a Brazilian fighter who's been talking all this sort of shit about him, and he started a GoFundMe for the medical bills that he's going to have Michael Bisping's going to need to pay for the hurt he's about to do. So I shared this with Engineer Truth or Matt, and what was funny was I shared it with him, and then he donated $5 to say, totally worth $5 to advertise my realistic career videos on YouTube and to shit on Michael Bisping. How great is that, man? Franique says, what is important in learning programming at beginning? Trying to understand everything from beginning and using Stack Overflow and understand. I think using Stack Overflow is crucial. I'll give you my, and like kind of learning with help is much better than struggling through it. But I promise you, you will always be struggling through it. It's not like it's one or the other. It's both. But if you're avoiding help, you're definitely choosing the wrong path. Now, a great example would be in a workplace, right? So I haven't been doing too much protractor testing. Protractor is basically testing language or library. Now, one of my coworkers has spent 6 weeks doing protractor testing and learned a lot and struggled through and done all that research and development. Now, is it more beneficial for me to struggle through it on my own for 6 weeks? Or is it beneficial for me to learn, struggle a little bit, but have a resource here of where I'm saying, hey, no need to spend 8 hours trying to learn this shit out. I already learned it. Let me share with you what I know. And it goes hand in hand with your learning, right? You're always going to be struggling through things. Like I'm going to be struggling through it, but it is much better to have. If someone already has a solution, don't reinvent the wheel. Learn that things that are around roll and try to understand that rather than trying to develop the wheel. That's kind of my thought process. It's better to just keep coding and learning than to stall and hang out for 12 hours on a problem that maybe if someone just said, look, man, this is how you solve this algorithm. This is why. It would click in the brain after you said it to them 3 or 4 times. Is being a digital nomad and being financially free from your end goal? Is this company going to be your headquarters for some time? So I don't think I'm going anywhere for some time. I do talk about how I take phone calls from recruiters as a courtesy, and but I let them know, like, look, I'm not going anywhere. I just take these calls in case something does happen because I think that's a smart decision. And I don't think there should be, there's any. I have no reason at all to leave my job, really. But being a digital nomad would be kind of cool, right? So like if YouTube ever took off, my dream job, guys, this would be my dream job, would to be able to do YouTube, what I do now, full time. That's it. I want to interview developers. I want to go to like trade shows and talk with people about technology. I want to keep on doing coding tutorials and side projects. And if at any time I make enough money to do that on my own, I'm gone, baby. I'm gone. If I'm making 100K residually on my own hard work, I'm happy. Like I don't need any more money than 100,000 a year. Like that's the thing of my residual money and me doing YouTube. If I'm doing that, yeah, man, I'm doing the digital nomad, being financially independent on my own. But with that being said, I'm not there. I have I get so much value being a salaried developer, and I get compensated nicely, and I've only continued to get compensated better and better and better. That I plan on staying at this company for a while. Thank you, man. 15K. We did it. We did it, boys. 15K. This is of course our 15K live stream. We do one every 1,000 subscribers. Say thank you. I appreciate you all. I think it's great to kind of say to answer any questions for those new 1,000 people. Sometimes you've heard some of my answers. I'm constantly evolving and trying to give you my best takes on a lot of these things. Have I gone to Cuba already? I have indeed. Also, by the way, another announcement for our 15Ks is that we have a coding group called Code Tech and Caffeine. The link is in the description below. I'll go ahead and throw it up in the chat as well if you want to join it. This coding group is going to be designed to kind of help people along the way, let people kind of study resources, share resources. I'm devoting I'm committing to posting one thing a day at the very least, so we'll have an active community. I hope you guys post as well. I'm not really eliminating anything. We're up to 32 members. I launched this like 2-3 days ago. It's just another way that you can support me and support the channel. And it's not really for the channel, but it's here. I wanted to start a coding meetup, and I think it's important to kind of dive all in. I also share any free resources I come across, like the Kindle book I posted 2 days ago with HTML and CSS. I do also work with back-end code at my job. We're working with PHP, I don't really like PHP, to be honest with you. But that's what the senior developer decided to learn, or decided to work with, because that's what he knew. And so that's what he's working with. We also use a framework within PHP called Cake PHP with it. If I was to say, if you said, look, I want to learn a backend language, what is great to learn? PHP is used very well, but used quite often. But I think if you went down the Node.js route, you'd have a better time, because I think that's what all companies are moving towards down the road. Hey, Brenna Baccaro, thank you. Brenna Baccaro says, hey, I'm a new subscriber, one of the new 1,000 subscribers, which is why we do these, to say thank you for being a new subscriber, and saying, you helped me understand working with APIs, the Twitch Free Code Camp project. You're welcome. Congrats on the growth. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hopefully we'll be doing these 1,000 live streams more often to say thank you to everybody. I enjoy them. We get to kind of shoot the shit. So I did go to Cuba. We were talking about that for a second. It was interesting, to say the least. I have some videos, and I actually, so we were there for about 2.5, 3 days, April and myself. And I took some videos and some pictures, and this weekend, if I have time, I'm going to release it as a video, kind of share a little bit of my take on Cuba, if that's something you're interested in. It was interesting. I don't know that I would ever take my children there. The people were very nice. The architecture was beautiful but run down. It was really it was really one of those things where you could see the poverty, and it was unfortunate. And a lot of this, although the architecture was very beautiful, it was all run down, and it felt a little shady at times. But that's just because I'm not used to the environment. I would have felt much better if my Spanish was much better. My Spanish is really bad. So perhaps if I spoke better Spanish, I would have felt much more comfortable. But it is not a vacation spot. The pre-release on React.js came out a while ago. Did it? Are you talking about on Free Code Camp, or are you talking about on the beta? Because I know they released. So I know that they released the React projects, but they never actually released the React sections on Free Code Camp. The cars were kind of cool. Did I understand you right in one of the other live streams about a Python course? No. I'm not a Python developer. Although, funny enough, some of my most watched videos are the Python Codecademy courses. I get that it's out in the beta. I want it to be out of the beta before I do it, to kind of help you guys out. Just because people get really lost if all of a sudden one section's there and one section's not. So, but you guys will see more Free Code Camp content for me moving forward. Hey, Dylan, if I have a person that's interested on a site, would it be smart to build from the ground up, or would it be smarter to go the WordPress/coding route? So I will tell you exactly what I would do. Is if you want to build a portfolio, which is what I think you probably want to do, I would use a site like, let me find it here. I would use a site like startbootstrap.com, which has a bunch of empty tutorials, and I would build it around these tutorials. I'll go ahead and throw these templates, excuse me. I would go ahead and I'll throw the link up in the chat so you can see it. Check out some of the empty ones. Like, they have some with images and things like that, but use those templates and work with them. Change it. And if you notice my website, Coding Tutorials 360, I was much more .com. I was much more interested in building or learning Angular than building a site in HTML and CSS. And I took what was there and then I customized it to my needs. And I built it out in Angular on top of it. For Nick for Tech says, what is more common in business? If you're a web designer, most of the time you're going to be getting a Photoshop file and then building it out in HTML and CSS. So you'll kind of design in Photoshop or some sort of wireframing thing like Balsamic or anything else and building it from there. Nice. So Erlin Sanchez says, what is your general advice for building iPhone, Android web apps? Need to start looking so I get your advice. So my general advice is that I think web applications would be the better and easier place to start. But it really depends on what you're interested in. Are you more interested in building mobile apps? I would do a little bit of research about the difference in salaries, and also know that the iOS app, building iOS and building Android apps is going to be significantly harder than building web applications. Yeah, you can build a. Let's see here. The coming soon tutorials. That's going to be the ES6 tutorials. I'm also going to be doing an Angular 2 tutorial as well. I'm working on. I'm going to be releasing kind of hour-long videos explaining things from the ground up, and I'm going to start very basic. I'm going to do an hour-long video about HTML5. So if you never touch HTML, I'm going to try to break it down and then show you the current version of HTML. I'm going to do the same thing with CSS, CS3, show you all the things that are really important, how to use them, what they do, try to explain it well in like a 1 hour video. So, maybe I'll break it up into parts. Would you guys prefer like 4 15-minute parts or 1 hour video? But I'm also going to do that. So those are two that I have planned. I'm going to do it with Angular 1, Angular 2, JavaScript, jQuery. Eventually I get to React once I start studying that. And then I'll go from there. But that's also ES6. I'll do a video just devoted to ES6 for the most current stuff. What's your opinion on self-driving cars like Tesla and automation of jobs in general? Automation of jobs is something that's been happening since the beginning of time. It's nothing you can do about it. The only thing you can really do is not go into careers that are getting automated currently. Like if you were to say, this is a bad example, but a lot of, like, say for some reason you wanted to be a cashier. A lot of those jobs, if they aren't automated, are slowly getting automated. You're seeing more self-checking outs at McDonald's and Wendy's and things like that. They're already having you ring up yourself. So these are jobs that are already currently getting automated. If you're going to fight automation, you're just going to be talking to a wall. You're going to be like Don Quixote battling the windmill. This is just something that's happening. And, if you can tell me a better profession that has a great hiring rate with a great pay that's better than software, I think you're going to be, I beg to differ. There's very few out there. It's definitely in the top 10 careers. And when LinkedIn about a month ago released the best growing careers in the top 20 best growing and best careers, about 5 to 6 of them were all technology related. So it's a great career to get into. Teresa says, thank you so much for the Twitch TV project videos. I was completely lost until I found them. You are welcome. I know a lot of these API projects trick people up. I try my best to explain it and do update videos when they break. So, like, you wouldn't believe how many people sent me messages and comments and tweets when Twitch changed their API. So I try to do update videos for those things so everyone can find it along and then change their code down the road. Because there's nothing worse than having a portfolio that does not work and you don't know how to fix it, right? Amazon is changing the game. Amazon's always changing the game, man, just like Google. Is CAD going to get automated? I don't know. I do not know, man. I don't really mess with CAD too much. I don't know anything about it. By the way, if you want to join the Facebook group, guys, Code Tech and Caffeine, description in the link below. You can also search for it on Facebook. Have I played around with Meteor.js? at all. I haven't got it down yet, but it seems like a cool ecosystem now. So I have not. It is something that I thought about because I came across it when I was learning React a little bit. It seems like people work with it within React, but because I became an Angular developer, I haven't touched it. With that being said, I've talked to a lot of full stack developers who absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. But I'm of the mindset, Brenna, that you should learn what's most in demand when you are looking for work, right? So that's why I was learning Angular and I was learning React, because those were the things that when I was filling out job apps, I saw the most demand for. Now, if you want to get a working knowledge of Meteor, that's great. But to dive all into Meteor, you may be putting yourself at a disadvantage because now you're saying, look, I'm only looking for jobs that have Meteor. Now, my thing is get a working knowledge of it, learn the things that are going to get you hired if you're a junior developer or trying to be a junior developer. And then when you're out of work, go ahead and jump into Meteor. Do all your projects in Meteor once you start working. Like I work in Angular 1. At home, I'm doing Angular 2. And I'm trying to learn Node.js and all these other things because I want to learn things at home to expand my value that isn't just going to be the stuff I have on my resume from work. I haven't touched Vue.js. A couple of people have brought this up quite a bit, so maybe I'll have to dive into it a little bit. Yeah, but I haven't touched it. You're going into the InfoSec and cybersecurity? Yeah, so in the Free Code Camp beta, they currently have what do you call it? A internet security certificate coming out soon, guys. So that'll be an interesting thing to see how that goes. I was hoping that with testing and things like that. So they're using Helmet and something else. I forget what it was. I scanned it the other day. But yeah, so they're devoting some of their resources to that. And that's probably it as well, Teresa. Is a lot of people don't even know where they would get started. Like as a self-taught developer, it's very hard to get started, but there are resources. There's channels like mine helping you out. And there's sources like Free Code Camp and Codecademy with courses to teach you. I don't know where I would learn internet security. I don't even know what that would entail. What do I think about hackathons? Have I done any before? I've done one hackathon before, and I loved it. It was wonderful, and it was super tiring and hard. And this was when I only knew jQuery. So I went in to a hackathon called Angel Hack. If you're not familiar with it, Angel Hack is a hackathon company, angelhack.com. I highly suggest you check it out. And they do giveaway prizes and things like this. This one was an overnight hackathon that was a 40-hour hackathon. You got there at like 7 a.m. You basically went through the motions, about 3 hours meeting people, talking, introducing yourself, and yeah, became part of a team. And we didn't win anything, but it was great. We ended up developing an application called YourTube. If you want to, and basically the premise was you took the YouTube API and then based off the user's geolocation, you would find videos in relation to that. Now, the benefit of that or how we were selling it is if you were looking for something that might be better, like maybe you wanted, maybe you were in Austin, Texas, and you wanted local rock music and rock bands, you could search for it there. Or you wanted a authentic enchilada recipe, you could search for the videos for enchilada recipes in Mexico, for instance. That was kind of the premise behind it, and that's what we built. That's a good point, Teresa, about security. First, you learn how to build apps and software, then you learn how to secure it. And that's kind of how the software development process goes as well. I know at my work, we built the application and then we worried about credentials, how to secure the back end, how to secure the front end, all those sort of things after we built it. I worked very little on the security aspect of it, but it definitely is a great skill set to have. But also hackathons. So the hackathon, the hackathon was one of the reasons I got my job as well as my first developer job. Part of it was because they asked me what I worked in. It showed that my initiative and willing to learn, right? Not only do I learn this stuff out of school, out of work, out of everything, I go to coding events and I participate, and I have a working portfolio item that you can go and see what I spent 36 hours. And it really challenges you to get something out. Like, there's no slacking. It was stressful, and I could probably make what I made in about that 36-hour time period with the team in about an hour to 2 on my own now from scratch. But that's because I already did it, right? And I got so much better debugging these things and moving forward that it was a great learning experience. And also it helps you work with teams, and it gives you something to talk about in your interview process as well. It would have been better if we won, but it's better. It's good at all the same to go. I've tried to go to a few, but unfortunately they're all in Miami, which is about a 3.5-hour drive. So I haven't gone to any in a while. All right, guys. So I want to thank you all. I want to take a second to thank the 1,000 of you that are new subscribers and the 14,000 of you that are old ones and still sticking in with us. Appreciate you all. If you want to join the Facebook group, Code Tech and Caffeine, the link is in the description below. You can also just search for it on Facebook. It's a group devoted to code, technology, and caffeine was just kind of thrown in there because I'm a little bit of a fiend. But the point of the group is to kind of share resources, help each other out. It could be anything from a coding meme to free coding resources. If you want to help me out, you can go to patreon.com/codingtutorials360. Links in the description below for some additional content and things like that. Not required by any means. I hope you guys join the Facebook group. Thank you again for the incredible support. Look forward to our weekly interviews with Behind the Code, where we interview developers and those working in technology to kind of get their knowledge. I try to share everything I know with you guys to the best of my ability. I appreciate you all. Thank you for being here. Have a wonderful day, morning, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Half our audience is international. I don't know if you guys know this. But what I really want you to take away, man, is because I know a lot of us are trying to be developers, right? A lot of us are in school. A lot of us are just kids going to school, whether it be college, whether it be high school, whether it be elementary school. I had like an 11-year-old send me their email so we could do some networking. I felt uncomfortable, but I God bless him for getting started, right? This guy's going to be a CEO one day, owning a company, probably hire my old ass. So what I want you to take away, guys, is that a year and a half ago, I couldn't afford to buy a pair of chonies from Costco and had to go spend money on, some rice and beans so I could eat. I worked hard. You can work hard. I did. You see the free code camp certificate up there? Part of the reason I felt like I learned so much was because of free code camp. I think that I've checked out their beta. Lots of great stuff. I can't wait to talk to Quincy about it. We're going to be interviewing him soon. Very smart guy. But work hard. Try and code every day if you can. 30 minutes a day on the days you can't. 12 hours a day on the days you can, right? As much as you can. Work hard. Try not to get stressed out. If you need a break, take one day off. Work hard. It'll work out for you guys. And kind of decide what makes you happy. And that's why, like, when we were talking about WordPress developers, I don't want to give a negative impression, but I do want you to know that when you're working in these lesser technologies, if you will, that the supply and the demand, the harder it is. There's a reason a full stack developer gets paid more than a front end developer, and there's a reason a front end developer gets paid more than a WordPress developer. It gets a little harder. There's less people, but there's also more reward if you get to that level, right? So I'm typically a front end developer, but I want to make more money, and I want to be financially independent one day. I'm trying to be a full stack developer, and I hope whatever you decide to do, if you want to do design in WordPress, God bless. Just be aware of what the market is, right? And that's kind of what Engineered Truth's channel is about, is realistic career advice. And so same goes for anything else. Make smart decisions, work hard. Doesn't matter what you do, guys. If you're learning code, you're learning something good. I appreciate you all. Thank you for being here. See you in the next video.